Welcome back, everybody! It is a sit-down video. I have recently done like a TBR thing and kind of like my current reads, and now I'm just like, I fell back in love with like sit-down videos. Like, I do love a good vlog. That will not stop, guys, do not worry. But I do love this, and as much as I love making videos and as much as I love a good vlog or a good sit-down video, I also love other things. Books, for example. You should know that. Maybe you can tell. Maybe you can tell. But also, I love London, and I feel like I'm always talking about London, but like, that's like half my personality, guys. You know, I have to stay on track. So today, I combined two things I love. Three. Making videos, books, and London into one lovely little video, because I will give you like a couple books that are set in London. There's the video, guys. Surprise! But yeah, let's just start very randomly. Actually, book number one I cannot show you because it is Open Water, one of my favorite books. Literally one of my favorite books. I cannot show you. I have the copy not at home. It's actually at my best friend's place. So yeah, I will put a picture right here, but I love Open Water. Would recommend. Again, it is set in London. It has such a like nice writing style, because I would say it's not classic novel writing style, but it's also not really, it's not really prose and stuff, but it's kind of like a mix of it, which in the beginning gave me such a headache, because I was like, what is happening? Because sometimes it just like jumps into a new situation, and kind of like halfway through you kind of gather what is actually happening or like where it's set. But if you get used to it, it is so beautiful. Such a beautiful book, which kind of like connects growing up, falling in love, trying to figure out like relationships, but also like career and what to do with life, and to an extent in a busy place like London. But yeah, I will keep recommending this in whatever kind of context. So Open Water. Then we have a book I have read 2 years ago, maybe, which is The Woman Who Lied. Maybe I have not read this 2 years ago. I don't know. I've read it anyway. The Woman Who Lied by Claire Douglas. Love a good like Claire Douglas book anyway. But yeah, it is set in London. She, I think, is a writer. Yeah, she's a best-selling crime writer. And she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a writer, you know. And I loved it. I actually don't remember what was happening, because it's been a long while. But I do remember liking it a lot. And I didn't know it was set in London. I just bought it because I like Claire Douglas. And so I started, and I feel like at the very beginning, if I'm not mistaken, pretty early on, it's kind of like it becomes obvious it is set in London, and she explains, I think she's like stuck on a bus or something, stuck on the bus in traffic. Yeah, literally chapter 1, Amelia's on the bus home. There we go. And pretty quickly I was like, oh, that is London, and I love it. Would recommend. Also very different from Open Water, or like generally different from like my mainly romance bookish content. So enjoy this one. Then we have a book I have not read yet. These are like books I have read and books I haven't read, but yeah, it's just based on setting. We have that Peckham Boy, which is Peckham, so you know, that's that. Also, I don't know if he's going to see this. You know who you are if you do. Don't laugh about the way I say that. Like, you have been laughing about like me talking about this anyway. But yeah, I've been excited to read this. It is still on my list, but I feel like I've said this before. It is similar to my Open Water situation back like before I read it. I wanted to take my sweet time with it, and I started Open Water I think at work ages and ages ago, and then I stopped and put the book away. Kind of forgot about it. And then when I picked it back up, I did have the time and like more appreciation for it, and so that was very nice and lovely. because then I actually got to love and enjoy the book. And I loved it ever since. But yeah, this has to open on my list. I bought this pretty quickly, I think, after finishing Open Water, because I looked for something like similar-ish with a similar setting. Yeah, so that is that, and hopefully this book will be read this year. I don't want to promise anything, but I'm very hopeful. Then we have, speaking of Open Water, this will never stop, guys. We have Small Worlds by the same author as Open Water. I have not read this. It is on my list, but the same thing goes. I want to take my sweet time with it. I want to have time to go fully in, appreciate it, appreciate the book and its writing and its contents and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm still very excited. I had this with me in Paris, actually. I don't think I've shown you that. Not really sure. I did pack it, and I remember before I went, while I was packing, I talked to my mom, and I was like, I had this book and something else, and I was like, which one should I take? Like, and she was like, okay, but like, what are the options? Like, what's happening? I was like, this and that book. I don't even remember which one it was, actually. I was like, yeah, this and this and whatever. And then I had this one, and I was like, yeah, and I love this, and I want to take my sweet time. She was like, but will you have time on your trip? And I was like, yeah, but it's like I wanted to like save it for like a special occasion. And I was like, sure, we're probably gonna read anyway. We didn't, but you know. So I took it with me, but I didn't read it. But it was there. It was in Paris, you know. But yeah, it is also set in London. I think East London, but I would not bet on it. Maybe not. But definitely London. And yeah, I'm just very excited to read this, because I also think, I'm not sure, but I think this is a very different writing style from Open Water, maybe, from what I've heard, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, very excited. Also, I'm very excited for the author, bless him, for writing these books, and also like having his first, like, Open Water was his debut novel, as far as I know, and it is like going to be turned into like a movie or like a mini-series or something. I think a movie. And as far as I know, he's also involved in the process, which I do love if like the author is involved. And imagine just like acing your first book to make it as great as Open Water is, and also pumping out another one, but also have that made into a movie. Like, you know, congrats to the author at that point. Then we move on to something I bought in London, which is also set in London, which I didn't know. As you guys know, if you know one thing, I buy books very much not informed most of the time. It is The Switch by Beth O'Leary, which I think she has also written The Flatshare, if I'm not wrong. And the funny thing is, I kind of knew the Flatshare cover. I think it's called The Flatshare. But I don't have it, and I didn't read it, but I kind of knew the cover from like TikTok and stuff. And I've seen this and I was like, oh, this reminds me so much of like this and this book, but I didn't have like the author's name in mind. And then I bought this and I looked it up at some point and I was like, oh, that is the same author. Also, it says author of Flatshare down here, and I just didn't notice. Like, I literally looked at this, I didn't read was like what was on the bottom. I was just like, oh, okay, like nice. And I was like, oh, it's like, it reminds me of something. Miss Girl is right there. Same author. But yeah, it is set in London, or at least part of it is, and it's about a girl and her grandmother, and they kind of like share or like switch houses. Yeah, that is the bottom line of what that is. But yeah, also the Flatshare cover is down here. Actually, but I didn't look at it that close, guys. Come on, who am I? Who do you think I am? But yeah, that. And then we have, and I want to read this in summer, just for the cover. Not even the content, just for the cover. I want to read it in summer. We have Small Pleasures by Claire Chambers. And look at the oranges. Like, this is summer vibes galore. It's giving summer holiday, to me at least. And it is set in Southeast London in the suburbs in 1957. And she's a journalist. And I think, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was about to say there was like a crime and she's like investigating as a journalist. That is not true. I remember that wrong. She gets approached by a young girl who claims that her daughter was the result of like a virgin birth. And so she like goes all in and kind of like tries to discover if it's like a miracle or fraud or like you know, what is happening. You can also read all of this in the back. I did not spoil. Yeah, I've been meaning to read this. I bought this just for the vibes. Literally, I saw the cover, I was like, okay, I need this. Then I looked at the back and it said London. I was like, sold. Also her being a journalist, I was also sold. So I was 3 for 3, so I had to get it. But I never got around to reading it. Also, something I hate, which I just now noticed in these 2 books. What is up with the covers where, like, I don't know if you can see this, but like where the cover is like shorter than like the edge of the book? Don't. Whoever you are, all of the publishing houses, don't do it, please. This is like one of the things that piss me off massively, but maybe that's just me. That also has nothing to do with the video itself, but I don't like it. Yeah, that is a book. And then we have one last one. I probably have more books set in London, but off the top of my head I could not think of anything more. Yeah, then we have Queenie, which I have mentioned another book of the same author in a different video recently. I don't remember the book title, and I don't know which video, but I did mention it. I do remember that because I mentioned Queenie in the same breath. I was like, it's the same author as like Queenie. Haven't read it. It's been on my list. Love the cover. Also like the gold details. Can you see that? I think so. But yeah, it is also set in London if I'm not mistaken. And oh, it's on the back. People Person. That is the book I recommended. I still don't know the context, but I did recommend. Yeah, I've heard of it ages and ages and ages ago. I feel like I talked about this in a different video as well. Also way back. Yeah, I've heard about it. And I was like, I'm gonna have to get this, and I never did. And then I kind of forgot about the book, and then I stumbled across it again, and then I got it. Yeah, but it's been on the stack ever since. Guys, honestly, I feel like I say this about every single book, apart from in my reading wrap up, because then I'm like, oh, I read this finally. But I feel like in each and every context, no matter the video, but if it's about books and to like some extent, I feel like every single book goes with the line of like, yeah, I haven't read this yet, it's been on my stack, or like on my shelf. But it's true. Books, like, some of you guys will get this, buying books and reading books are 2 very separate hobbies, and so far I have been stronger in buying books, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take it, and so do you. Alrighty guys, thank you guys for watching. That was my recommendations of books that are set in London. If you love London, to kind of like recognize places that are mentioned, or if you have never been and kind of want to hear about like certain things. Also I feel like it's so interesting how it's like such different books with such different stories. Yeah, honestly, I'm so excited to read all of these, apart from the ones I have read, of course. But yeah, that is the end of my recommendations. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.